All right, today we're going to dive into a system that has totally changed the game for how people train. It's the National Academy of Sports Medicine's Optimum Performance Training model, or the OPT model for short. Seriously, think of it like a powerful, science backed blueprint for getting results you can actually count on time and time again. But first, I've got a question for you. Think about it honestly. Does your workout actually have a system? I mean, a real, thought out plan that builds on itself from one week to the next? Or is it, just chaos? We've all been there, right? You show up at the gym, you kind of do what you feel like, maybe you pull up some workout you saw on Instagram. There's no real connection to what you did last time. And hey, if that sounds familiar, you are definitely not alone. But that random approach, that's the fast track to frustrating plateaus and, even worse, getting injured. Okay, so here's our game plan for this explainer. We're going to talk about the chaos of random workouts, and then I'll introduce the OPT model as our blueprint for success. After that, we'll walk through the three levels, starting with the foundation, then building up through the strength spectrum, and finally, unleashing some real power. So let's talk about why this chaos is such a problem. When your workouts are random, your successes are too. They're just flukes. I mean, if you don't have a system, how in the world do you know what actually worked? How do you track your progress or figure out what's causing a setback? Plus, you're way more likely to overtrain certain muscles and completely neglect others, which, you guessed it, creates imbalances and is a recipe for injury. And this is exactly where the OPT model comes in to save the day. See, it wasn't just pulled out of thin air. It was developed by blending the best ideas from physical therapy with top-tier strength and conditioning. What you get is this systematic, progressive framework that's designed to build you up logically, making sure every piece of the fitness puzzle is put in place in the right order. You know, this quote from Coach Joe Drake just hits the nail on the head. He says, if you were building a house, would you want to build it from the roof first, or would you want to build a strong foundation? It's such a perfect analogy, right? Of course you wouldn't start with the roof. You need that solid, stable foundation first. And your training is exactly the same. You have to build a solid base before you can even think about piling on heavy weights and intensity. So the model keeps things really simple by breaking this whole journey down into three clear levels. First up, we've got stabilization. That's our foundation. Then we build the walls and the frame with strength. And finally, we put on the roof and all the cool high-tech finishes with power. So you ready? Let's start building with level 1. All right, welcome to level 1. This whole level is just one phase, and it's called stabilization endurance. This is ground zero. And listen, the goal here is not to lift the heaviest weight you possibly can. Not at all. The main goal, the only goal really, is to teach your body how to move well. It's all about quality over quantity, all about control. So what are we actually trying to do here? Well, we're focused on teaching your body the right way to move, those optimal patterns. We're making sure your joints are stable and supported. We're building up muscular endurance. And we're improving something called neuromuscular efficiency. Now, that sounds fancy, but it really just means we're making your body smarter. We're improving its awareness and coordination, basically getting your brain and your muscles to have a better conversation. Okay, a huge part of this phase is the tempo, and it's a slow one. 4, 2, 1. What does that mean? It means you take 4 full seconds to lower the weight, you pause for 2 seconds at the bottom, and then it's a 1-second lift back up. So, why so slow? Well, this deliberate pace forces you to actually feel the movement and perfect your form. It gives you or your coach plenty of time to make corrections. It's literally learning how to move in real time. Okay, our foundation is poured, it's solid, and now we can start building up. It's time to move to level 2, strength. Now, this is the biggest level of the model, and it has 3 different phases inside of it, all designed to build the full spectrum of what it means to be strong. The first phase we hit is strength endurance, and this phase uses a really clever technique called a superset. That just means you do 2 exercises back to back with basically no rest. So a classic example would be pairing a traditional strength move, like a heavy barbell squat, immediately with a more unstable exercise like a single leg squat. It's brilliant, really. You're building that raw strength while you continue to challenge and improve your stability at the same time. Next up, we move into phase 3, which is muscular development. And this is what a lot of people think of when they think of working out. It's your classic bodybuilding style training. The goal is hypertrophy, which is just the sciencey word for maximizing muscle growth, and we're typically working in that 6 to 12 rep range. From there, we can level up again to phase 4, maximal strength. And here, the game changes completely. The focus is all about lifting heavy, super heavy loads for just a few reps to teach your nervous system how to produce as much force as humanly possible. And that brings us to the very top of the pyramid. We're putting the roof on our house. This is level 3, power. Look, being strong is awesome, but power is a whole different beast. It's about taking that strength and applying it quickly. It's about being fast, being explosive. So this phase also uses supersets, but in a totally different way. Here, you'll pair a heavy strength exercise, let's say a heavy bench press for just 1 to 5 reps, and follow it up immediately with a light, super explosive movement like a medicine ball chest pass. The whole goal is to improve your rate of force production. In other words, how fast can you unleash your strength? Okay, so the science behind this is super cool. It's called Post-Activation Potentiation, or PAP for short. Here's what's happening in simple terms. That heavy lift you just did basically wakes up or excites your nervous system and all your fast-twitch muscle fibers. So when you immediately do the explosive exercise, those muscles can contract way more forcefully and way more rapidly. You're essentially tricking your body into becoming more powerful. Okay, now this is super, super important to understand. The OPT model is a flexible system. It's a guide. It is not a rigid set of rules you have to follow no matter what. A good trainer is going to adapt this to their client, right? So a marathon runner, they're going to spend most of their time in the stabilization and strength endurance phases to build that rock-solid durability. But a powerlifter, yeah, their focus is going to be almost entirely on maximal strength and power. The beauty is that the system gives you a logical path no matter what your goal is. So let's bring it all together. Why does any of this matter to you? Well, because when you follow a system like the OPT model, you seriously decrease your risk of getting hurt because you took the time to build that foundation first. It gives you a clear, repeatable roadmap for getting better, which makes it so much easier to track your success. And, because it just makes sense, people are way more likely to actually stick with it. It transforms fitness from chaotic guesswork into a predictable science. Look, at the end of the day, to be successful long-term, every single fitness journey needs a blueprint. The OPT model just happens to be one of the most tested and proven blueprints out there. So the only real question left to ask is, where will yours take you?